talking about Malcolm X's involvement. Well, the nation. Oh, yeah. I need the need the microphone. Okay, so we were talking about Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam's involvement with the American Nazi Party. Okay, so it's some ugly sentiments. George Lincoln, okay, so here's quoted from the book. George Lincoln Rockwell may have thought himself white America's answer to Malcolm X. Square-jawed and solidly built, he cut a striking figure when commanding the stage at rallies held by the group he had founded and led, the American Nazi Party. Once Rockwell learned of the Nation of Islam's anti-integrationist positions, he became fascinated by the concept of a white supremacist, black nationalist united front.
Wow.
Yeah. He even praised the Nation of Islam to his followers, arguing that I would call this. I'm not even going to repeat. He considered something to be praised. I'm not going to repeat it.
No. Repeat it. This is Ed. People need to hear the truth. Repeat it. Tell them.
He even praised the Nation of Islam to his followers, arguing that Elijah Muhammad had gathered millions of the dirty, immoral, lazy, repulsive people and inspired them to the point where they are sober, honest, hardworking, admirable human beings in spite of their color. So I guess from a Nazi leader, this would be considered praise of.
So is it saying? So they're trying to say that he was able to get people that they considered bottom of the barrel, so to speak.
Yes.
Just raunchy people in their mind, and they were able to turn them into well-abiding people.
Yeah, and I think what's even worse. I think it's an even worse thing to say because it's like he's perverting something. He's looking at something good and making it ugly and hateful. The Nation of Islam was and is very much about supporting families, supporting people, helping people care for each other and get ahead. And so it was, I mean, it's this thing that's very, it's like a dictator rule or something like that. If you take something that's true and sort of like twist it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was this person, Rockwell. And so at sometime in early 1961, Rockwell's groups had talks with Muhammad and several top aides in Chicago. Rockwell and Elijah Muhammad may even have met privately to work out an agreement of mutual assistance. The main concession that Rockwell wrung from Elijah Muhammad was permission to bring his Nazi stormtroopers into Nation of Islam rallies, which he knew would provoke press coverage.
Wow.
For Elijah Muhammad, the attention carried greater risk, but he believed that it was outweighed by the opportunity to put on display the true nature of the white man. Rockwell's group may have been at the fringe, but Muhammad saw its racial hatred and anti-Semitism as an honest representation of white America's core beliefs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is they kind of conspired all that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they conspired and manipulated it. It's like they're... Yeah, I mean, it's like they're glorifying what you think they would be,
right.
Want them to be against, because, and so for Elijah Muhammad, I mean, it was like it was getting all of it was like it got both of them
Right.
parties more attention.
Now, do you think if Malcolm X was alive, do you think he would have branched away?
Oh, he was part of this.
Huh?
He was part of this.
So he knew this was going down too.
Yeah, he was there.
Ooh.
He introduced them. I mean, he sat with them on stage.
Do you think he would have eventually, like, left the nation on his own? Malcolm X?
Oh, sure. And this was a divide. I mean, this was a dispute between him and Elijah and Elijah Muhammad. But I just, again, I tried to think back and clear my mind of what I think. Okay, in 1961, how much more sense would that have made to people? In a way, it's so. I mean, because I'm just wondering, like, okay, certainly they were very crafty and calculating. Like, what were they thinking? I mean, does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. My feelings on it is weird though, because they hit that pretty well. You would have thought that, having to explain that, Elijah Muhammad having to explain that to all his people, you would have thought, man, there would have probably been some uprisings here and there after that, because that's just crazy.
Okay, on June 25th, 1961, the Nation of Islam held a major rally in Washington, D.C. Before an audience of 8,000, Rockwell, the Nazi guy, and 10 stormtroopers, all crisply dressed in tan fatigues and bright swastika armbands, were escorted to seats near the stage in the center of the arena. Representatives of the African American press, stunned to see Nazis there, shouted questions to Rockwell, who announced, "I am fully in concert with the NOI's program, and I have the highest respect for Mr. Elijah Muhammad." And so, yes, Malcolm X spoke. Elijah Muhammad was supposed to speak, but he was ill, and so Malcolm X spoke. After his speech, the audience was asked for contributions, and when Rockwell put in $20, Malcolm asked who had donated the money. So this was public. They had meetings with Elijah Muhammad. The Nation of Islam had meetings with the Nation of Islam in private, and that was cash. But the American Nazi Party, I mean, this was public. For his part, Rockwell came away with his contacts with the Nation of Islam impressed by the organization and discipline. Quote, "Elijah Muhammad understands the vicious fraud of the Jewish exploitation of the Negro people." So that's the Nazi guy saying that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's just so complicated, because certainly there were issues. I mean, there were issues that the Nation of Islam had with Jews too, and so. Okay, so both of the Nation of Islam and the American Nazi Party were both very authoritarian. So they had that in common. One of the things they said was this guy Malcolm X is no mealy-mouthed pansy. He looks like so many of the disgusting integrationist leaders, both black and white. Mm. So here they're trying to, God, it's not like we don't see that sort of stuff now, but the following February, Rockwell attended the Nation of Islam Savior Day held in Chicago before an audience of 12,000 Muslims. After Elijah Muhammad finished his sermon, Rockwell was invited to speak and strolled to the stage flanked by 2 bodyguards and said, "But wouldn't you rather be confronted by honest white men who tell you to your face what the others say behind your back?"
Right.
So,
right. Wow, that's deep.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah. And we can't, going back and it's just amazing. I mean, my God, it's not like that's not a accurate sentiment.
Right.
It's just how it's all how you put things together and how you
Right.
interpret them, and so
That's crazy.
yeah. When I first read that, that was quite something. Okay. Okay, the Nazi stated, Elijah Muhammad is a black supremacist and I'm a white supremacist. That doesn't necessarily mean we gotta kill each other. So.
I wish I would have been there to see how that meeting went when they first decided to come together. I mean, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't even see how that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then here was the last little bit of this that I wanted to get to. So, because we just go. It's just important to keep looking at things so that we can learn and we can be on guard and think. At a debate with Malcolm X was debating Bayard Rustin, our friend Bayard, and they debated a few times, and the topic, separation or integration, should have favored Rustin. The audience consisted largely of white liberals who strongly supported civil rights. However, Malcolm astutely did not condemn all whites as devils, emphasizing instead the negative effects of institutional racism on the black community. His arguments were persuasive to many whites in the audience. Rustin was forced to complain that too many whites in the gallery, including some of his own friends, were applauding Malcolm's statements more vigorously than the Negroes in the audience. Okay, then here's a quote from Bayard Rustin, and it's so weird because I've heard him a lot. He had a really distinctive voice. So, what he said was, may I explain the process? Rustin said, many white people love to hear their kind damned to high water while they sit saying, isn't it wonderful that that nice black man gives those white people hell? But he couldn't be talking about me. I'm the liberal. 1962.
Wow.
But could that not have been last week?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is something.
Yeah. I mean, just the world, it's so much more complicated than we think. When we think at first. So those were things that, we could get back to how much. I don't know. It's like people can just hate each other, but they can come together to make money.
Right. Exactly. Which is one of the hardest things. I don't know why people can't do that. I don't know what the problem is. It seems like even when they do it, something always messes it up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the powers that be or what it is, but it never holds.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some music, I guess.
Okay.
We'll play a couple of songs.